Well, I recorded many videos on this BDR, and I had the GoPro set incorrectly, so I had no audio for any of them. I don't know that I have the memory, energy, time, heart to record them again. I don't even know what the heck I was talking about. Maybe some of them, I think some of them had audio, but anyway. So, final day of the Mid-Atlantic BDR. This is, having done it backwards, this is technically section 1. It's surprisingly difficult to ride and talk at the same time, even on this non-technical dirt. Yeah, what a ride this has been, and as you can see from the colors, or if you're following the Instagram, holy crap. Excellent timing on my part by accident. I did the middle section of this a couple, maybe almost a month ago, which is section 3 and half of section 3 and all of section 4, which is basically somewhere West Virginia into Harrisburg. I did that on the other bike, on the BMW, the 650. Then I did kind of like a hub and spoke approach to the northern sections, so I did like 6, 7, 8, 9 just day trips from PA out and back. And then I came down here via Skyline Drive for a little bit to Harrisonburg and to do the rest of section 3 and then all of sections 2 and 1. So I'm on my last, I don't know, what is this, 60 miles of this. And I highly recommend it. I highly recommend it even if you're a novice. And I highly recommend it, holy shit, doing it this time of year, because it is freaking gorgeous. I think I picked literally the perfect couple of days to do these few sections. It is just, I am awestruck by how perfect the colors are. I know that there was and always is talk of like weather conditions affecting leaf color and quality and all that. Not down here, and even in northern PA too, same thing, just phenomenal. I thought maybe I was going to be a little bit early. It was definitely early on the on Skyline Drive, but here in these mountains and in northern PA, it is the week to do this. So, and last week was the week to do northern PA, I guess. So, taking you along for a little bit of what the dirt is like. This is pretty much average for the southern part of the BDR. The northern part, which is the PA part, is much more hard pack, really high-speed forest roads, like just dreamy rip around straight, no cabins very much or anything like that. You can just go and go and go. Had a blast up there. This is a little bit more twisty, which is great too. Riding in the leaves, as you can see here, I mean, we're actually getting into post-peak now, considering how many leaves are on the ground. This has been more treacherous than expected, given the fact that you can't really see anything under the leaves. So whether it's holes or rocks or whatever, it's really tough to find your line and stuff. And as a novice, that makes it a little bit trickier, but regardless, still recommend doing it this time of year. Holy shit, I can't imagine doing this in humidity, or if it's just green, it would have been so much less interesting. So thank God I did it the way that I did it. You know, the route, fantastic. You know, around Harrisburg area, there was a lot of streets, and they were uninteresting streets. The streets here, like the road riding, has actually been these amazing mountainy kind of roads and stuff, and some like big country vistas, which are beautiful. the sort of southwestern or southern PA kind of stuff wasn't as picturesque, I guess, but in general, lots of, I mean, at least south of Harrisburg, once you get, well, actually south of like kind of Harper's Ferry or whatever, you get basically, I mean, almost the whole ride has been George Washington National Forest, and then I'm in Jefferson National Forest now. So, and it's just roads like this. Some of them are actually a lot more technical than this. Some of the climbs, you know, like for a novice off-road rider, it was pretty much maximum my skill / comfort level for someone riding alone. I would have probably ridden some of this a little bit faster, or taken some of the other alternate bypasses that you can take for like more technical sections. I probably would have tried, but being by myself, being a novice, I wanted to play it safe, considering this is an inherently dangerous activity to begin with. So, but I think, you know, the Mid-Atlantic BDR is the easiest of all the BDRs, really good one to start out on. Most of it isn't super remote. Like, most days I've seen other bikers out here, or, you know, the occasional car hunter, that kind of thing. So, not super desolate. It has been a absolute joy to ride. Honda has been a joy. So I started this out on the BMW, which, between the age of that and being a heavier bike, it's not that much heavier than this, maybe 100 pounds, but and the ergos were not really set up for me, which it turned out the Honda ergos were almost perfectly set up for me, just factory, especially for standing. And with my giant feet, the shifter is in the right place. The Honda has been really fun. And I learned to really appreciate it. You have to really want to rev it out, stay in the top. I mean, it's 11,000-ish red line, and so you need to use the whole range, especially on the highway and streets and stuff. If you're willing to really like run it out, it's actually pretty good. I put new tires on it, the Midas E07s, which have been amazing for this type of riding. Great on the street. It actually took care of some of the scary like wobble that I was experiencing on the stock tires on interstates. Wind management is terrible. The fairing is not good. It's too narrow, so you get horrible wind blasts around the outsides. I thought this was a fairing height problem. It's a fairing width problem, and it can't be changed because of the way that the bars touch, or the mirrors come in and touch it. So that's annoying and not solvable. And you can't really do aftermarket for that because of the bars. So honestly, that's the main thing that would stop me from doing like really long tours on this thing. Even with earplugs, it's too much. My ears are ringing like crazy at the end of a long highway day with like literally the best earplugs I could find. So anyway, but yeah, this has mostly been what it's like. This gorgeous, slowish. I would say it's probably, you know, 60% dirt, 40% off-road maybe, or on-road, I'm not sure. Most of the on-road sections are to get you to the next dirt section. Although, I lie. I mean, there's some stuff that's just been amazing mountain pass roads that I would have ridden the heck out of on a street bike too. I did some of that yesterday. 95% of the road as ridden to the map and the GPS. I've been using Locus Maps, which is awesome. Had a couple of bypasses for some road closures, and then yesterday I had my first and only, I guess you could say, I don't know, should I call it I was going to call it the chicken out bypass, but it's now telling me I missed a turn. That's what I get for not paying attention. Yeah, good, I got the beep in my helmet, or I would have just kept wandering off. Yeah, I was told by some locals yesterday that I was crazy to attempt the road that I was about to attempt by myself after a rain. So I decided I would not do that. I didn't actually even go check it out, because they said once you're committed in it to see the bad part, you're stuck. So I don't know, I asked multiple people, some people on 1200 GS's, obviously that's a bigger bike, but then I asked some locals, and one guy was like, I've known people who lost vehicles up there. So I'm like, okay, we won't do that. Is this the road? Ew. This looks like nobody has used it in a long time. Interesting. Considering how many bikers I've seen out here, I mean, obviously the leaves are falling a lot, but considering how many people I've seen out here, I would have thought there would have been more tracks. Unless that was just some wind from leaves. So, yeah, I've had a lot of interesting experiences, thoughts about all of this. The Honda, you know, which I was a little bit skeptical of. I don't know, maybe because I've just been a BMW rider forever, and I was skeptical of low power and whatever. It's been a great tool for this type of riding. For me, super, super light. I would not hesitate to take this on a long dirt trip. In fact, this is probably what I would pick on a long dirt trip, because you don't really need anything else for dirt. I have not had a power problem with this at all off-road. On-road is a different story. I was thinking about like, oh, maybe doing the TAT and stuff, and it's like, or the New England BDR, for example. Like, okay, cool, can do the New England BDR, no problem. Then you've got a, you know, whatever the heck it is from the top, 15-hour ride home. I guess you can do a 15-hour ride home, on which will turn into a 20-hour ride home or something on surface streets, but it just seems like it would turn into a horrible slog. I don't like the idea of shipping a bike after a trip. Maybe I should get over that, but yeah, so is it worth? I mean, I guess we'll find out, because I just bought a Tenere 700, which is being shipped to me right now, so we'll see if after I play around with that, how that's going to be for off-road. I mean, or not off-road, but for a mix, I guess. That is much more top-heavy than this thing, and, you know, quite a bit heavier, but people say it's a dream. The people that say it's a dream are on YouTube, so who knows? Well, actually, I've met people who've really, really loved it in person too, so I don't know, we'll give that a shot. But yeah, I like the Honda. BMW apparently also, which I should have looked into, I guess, just because I love the dealer that's near me, but BMW's 310 GS, which I didn't even take a look at because I assumed it was just like an entry-level kind of novice bike. Apparently the guy at Rally Raid, who has sold a whole bunch of, or sells a bunch of suspension upgrades and stuff like that for it, he said basically, like, if he was doing the Trans-European Trail, that's basically the bike he would take. And he loves it. He said it's basically the best adventure bike out there for a little small class, so that's pretty wild. I didn't even think about it. Could have easily bought that and probably got my hands on one a lot easier than this thing. And also, who knows, it's a little bit more powerful than this, so maybe I wouldn't have needed to upgrade. I don't know. But also on the bright side, I can make changes and try them all. Because apparently I have nothing else to do. What else have I learned? Traveling alone is sketchy. I hope I'm not jinxing myself, I've had to put the idea of what I'm doing and where I am and how remote it is sometimes out of my mind. Even if you're remote, quote-unquote remote, 15 miles off of a main road, you know, I carry a satellite tracker and all that, but I have to ride extremely conservatively because I don't want to take any risks by being by myself. I think a lot of the really interesting riding, whether it's technical riding, whether it's just even more remote places, I know people do this stuff and people are world traveling, and the stuff that like Itchy Boots gets herself into in other countries is mind-boggling. How remote some of the stuff is that she seems to be doing, but I don't know, maybe I'm just not adventurous enough or what, I don't know, but I think that is much more than that's and again, who knows, maybe wow, so many leaves, I can't see anything. You know, maybe as my skill level improves or something, it would be different, but this is about as much as as remote as I would really want to be by myself. That said, I really like traveling alone. Earlier there was a group of people that I thought maybe were coming through. I think they turned off, or they're just going much more slowly than me, so they would have caught up to me by now, but and I was just a little bit like, ooh, I might have to ride with people. Like, I would love to ride with my friends, don't get me wrong, but like riding with strangers or whatever, I don't know, it's just like, I don't really want to ride with a group. I mean, who knows if they would have even invited me to ride with them or anything, but just, however, like knowing that there was someone behind me, even the miles behind, that they were coming, is comforting. That happened to me in some of this northern section. Yikes. This is like ocean of leaves. Probably doesn't help that I have to keep looking down to check the damn GoPro to make sure that it's still recording. Yeah, so I don't know, it's interesting. Solo, yeah, I think, you know, being able to go at your own pace, and like there is some obvious inherent adventure in being out by yourself. Pay attention. If you look straight down at the leaves, it's actually not as dense as it appears, but I think the other thing is just in terms of there's a big puddle. In terms of you know, man, do I now have respect? Not that I didn't before, but I have so much respect for people who just do this stuff non-stop. I mean, maybe behind the cameras they're taking way more breaks, I don't know, but after 3 days of this kind of riding, standing up, you know, like, and I don't think it's necessarily, I mean, I'm sure some of it is age. Maybe I would have been more resilient when I was younger, but I don't think so. I feel like I'm in pretty decent physical condition, probably better than I was 15 years ago, and like, this is really athletic riding, and road food is not healthy. You can't carry that much food with you because you just don't have the space. But I feel like it really, after a couple of days, I'm ready for a break. I was thinking after all of this to go ride the Smoky Mountain 500, which is very similar, I guess, to this, more technical, 4 or 5 days, Great Smoky Mountains perimeter, you know, and by the time I get there in a couple more days, it would be peak leaves there too, which seemed awesome, but I'm wrecked. And, you know, I also feel like I got what I wanted to out of this trip. Finished a BDR, which is awesome. Hopefully the first of many. Learned a lot of lessons. Learned a lot of repacking that I need to do, and a couple things that I would want to change about the bike. Just some setup stuff, some gear stuff. I feel like it's mostly dialed in, but I think the lessons that I've learned will probably apply to whatever other bikes I end up playing with later. Attention because of this drop off. Someone that did a tat was telling me that the tat actually, much of it isn't hard. I think it's a lot like this, but it's hard in your brain. Because, especially like when you get out to Colorado, some of the drop-offs are far. I wish I had the camera on for some of the actual tricky stuff the other day. There were a couple of climbs where there was a climb up to a 4,000 foot peak that crossed, I don't know if we call those peaks around here, but where the Appalachian Trail crossed. It's exactly 4,000 feet according to my phone, but it was probably the trickiest riding I've done on this. Lots of rocks and ruts, and you gotta pick your line carefully. It was actually getting a little bit sketchy there too because of all of the rocks. I don't like riding on the edge, but with these blind turns, in case there's a motorcyclist coming the other way, you really need to stay to the right. Mountain wall. It actually looks like it's in good condition. Unlike what we have in PA, which all seems to be dying. It's beautiful here. Beautiful. It's hard to pay attention to what's around you because you need to stay upright. Fun practicing some of the skills that I learned in the dirt class last spring at Rawhide. Some of the ways that you turn, body positioning, and shifting while standing. It's interesting. Much of this route I actually think I could have done on the big bike, on the 1200 GS. I think it would have been a lot more nerve-wracking, and wouldn't have wanted to do it by myself, just in case of a weird drop. I don't know if you can hear the co-pilot in my ear. I'm using the Locus map, which does auto-generated guidance, which is a little bit weird because you can't. I have it set to the minimum guidance. I think it just figures it out based on how curvy the road is. It doesn't stop, but it's also really helpful. Although I missed it before, I guess it's because I'm trying to do 2 readings at once, but it's kind of like having a rally co-pilot telling you what's coming up. After 300 feet, bear left. I don't need the bearings, but the turns would be really nice, but there didn't seem to be any way to configure just for that. Oh, I can't see what's going on here. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say on the traveling alone thing. It's I think it's just like anything else. There's trade-offs. I'm not sure I would. Oh, shit. Terrorist gravel. Oh god. Oh, come on, get out of this. Oh, this is terrible. Angelo from Some Guy Rides calls this terrorist gravel because it's like, oh, I need to stop talking and pay attention. I know it probably doesn't look like anything in the video, but very big pieces, which is fine for a car. The bike just gets stuck in it, and it feels like you're driving in sand. You have no feeling at all. It just seems to be what they use when it's like, oh, fill in some holes, just dump thick gravel. Usually when they do trails like this. Oh my god, great. I actually think I remember Angelo doing this on the video, because it was in his first day video where he was like, because he did south to north and doing north to south. I think I remember him going over this, where he couldn't believe how long, because normally terrace gravel is only used in sections. Like you put it where there's going to be a lot of erosion to do like a stream crossing or something. Also now getting a very weird odor. It smells like burning plastic, which is not ideal. So hopefully this section ends soon. Oh god, this is the worst. Terrace gravel over. That was terrible. Man, 55 miles left for the day. I thought this was going to be a short and easy day. I think I started with 75. It's also possible the burning plastic smell is coming from something in my luggage, which has been known to happen from time to time. I really hate the rackless luggage setup that I have. Like, you basically strap luggage onto the bike with no rack. So, and then you put heat shields on your exhaust, but the exhaust is still hot under the, like the heat shield is very, very hot. It doesn't melt. It's like just low enough to not melt the fabric, but it's still hot. And you have the slightest error with the way that you pack or something. Like I had put my spare tube in there and it was too close to the exhaust side and it burned a hole in the bag that the tube was in, like through the bag. I mean, that's one huge change I would make to this setup. Like, I know everybody's all into this rackless bullshit, and like for lightweight, yes, I get it, but what, like, I don't know what the deal is, how people do this, how like the Moscow setup works. Maybe it's just some weird feature of like how I have these Endurostan bags set up. Nothing wrong with the bags, but it's just like I don't like, man, I would love to just have pannier racks with my Wolfman bags. Like, so much better. And as it turns out, I'm not doing anything technical enough that I need a skid plate. So really, the weight of the skid plate, if I took the skid plate off to replace with racks, like, it'd be fine. It smells so good out here. Smells like fall. The one bike I would love to try now after all this too is the KTM 690 Enduro. So I've tried the KTM 690 Supermoto. Just Hermes had one of those that I just test rode. And that's it. That's it for that little dirt section, I guess. The KTM 690 weighs basically the same as this bike. This bike has 27 horsepower. The KTM has like 75 horsepower. It's too tall for me, can't sit on it, stock. Supermoto I could touch the ground, but the Enduro there's no way. But I would really like to give that a try. Especially now after this, like I thought, I mean, I'm still looking forward, don't get me wrong, like I'm looking forward to the T7 to check out. I love twins. I love like the way twins sound. You know what? I'm going to take a break here.